Jane Langof. Is that how I pronounce your last name?
Yeah,
Langof?
that'll work. Langof.
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 Okay. You've got a very interesting concept. Tell us a little bit more about Feng Shui. What is Feng Shui?
So Feng Shui is the art of arranging your living and workspaces to create the optimal flow of energy.
Yeah.
It's about your relationship with your environment and your surroundings and how you can optimize the energy to improve health, wealth, abundance, and support you in your aspirations.
Yeah. Is Feng Shui... Look, there's a lot of myths going on about Feng Shui. I am a big believer in energy. But is Feng Shui only for rich people?
Absolutely not. No, not at all. Feng Shui is for everyone. And it's not just for Asian people either, because a lot of people think that it's just for those who have an Asian background or with ties to Asia. And a lot of my clients are non-Asian. And with the booming wellness industry now, a lot more people are interested in Feng Shui.
Yeah. Is there science behind it?
Well, there is science behind a lot of principles that support Feng Shui, like biophilic design, for example, which is all about plants and the impact of natural materials and how that can affect you in terms of your physical, calmness and stress levels and that sort of thing.
Yeah. So that's what you feel, right? This is what a lot of people don't understand. Whenever they walk into a place or whenever they go somewhere, there's a certain energy that they feel, but they just can't really describe it. Is that what Feng Shui is?
Yeah, that's right. Sometimes, well, it is like that. It's the feeling that you get when you walk into a space, but it also has something to do with that energetic level and also the physical arrangement of your spaces as well. So if you think about a room where there are a lot of doors and a lot of windows where the energy's escaping, it might not feel as calm and cozy as one that's just got one window and one door or two windows and one door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know your sort of work is going to be very visual intense, so we can't really show a lot of visual in this sort of podcast, but if you could explain to us how the energy flows or, the energy entrapment or...
Yeah, okay.
That sort of stuff.
So the ideal from a Feng Shui perspective is to have the energy of your home meandering through rather than moving too quickly in straight lines. So a lot of people might have heard that we don't like to have the front door in direct alignment with the back door or the front door in direct alignment with the stairs because the energy escapes too quickly. And sometimes when we've got those long, narrow hallways, the energy is moving too fast as well. So we want to slow that down and bring in the energy from the front, welcome the energy into the home, and you can do that by having a place that's sort of free of obstacles and clutter, something like a beautiful focal point at the front of the home that draws the energy inside. And then when I talk about that meandering energy flow, it's about slowing it down. So we want to use things like artwork. It could be pieces of furniture or plants that slow that energy and stop it from moving too quickly and escaping because Feng Shui is about energy containment.
Okay. Is it always the good energy that we want to contain? How do we differentiate a good energy and a bad energy that you want to contain or you want to get rid of?
Well, you can use your five senses to work out what is good energy and bad energy, number one. So things that have bad smells, for example, or things that look terrible. If you've got something across the road that is a building site, for example, that makes you feel uneasy, or you're living near a rubbish dump, that's obvious bad energy, right?
Yeah.
Or clutter in your home for something that's a bit closer to home. But the other way is through having an analysis done by a Feng Shui Master who will work out what the energy map is of your home on that intangible energy layer to figure out where the positive and negative energy sectors are. And that's where you're taking Feng Shui to the next level. Yeah.
So you're a Feng Shui consultant and you're also a designer.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of look, I get a lot of comments saying that a lot of Feng Shui designs have weird energy or terrible, terrible placements and everything.
Yes.
But I've seen your designs. You've done my place as well.
Yeah.
And they look amazing.
Yeah.
So how do you put a good design together with a good energy flow or good feng shui? Can you talk me through a little bit about that?
I'll just address one of the points that you mentioned that, and it's one of the myths out there as well that feng shui means you have to decorate your home with lucky objects, or some people think that their place is going to have an oriental design, or that it's going to look like a Chinese restaurant or something like that, right? And that is not what feng shui is about. So there are a lot of myths and misconceptions out there. Feng shui should actually be consistent with the principles of good design.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's about energy flow.
Yeah.
And you can incorporate the elements that you need to balance the energy flow through beautiful design without those tacky, lucky objects.
Yeah. From all the clients that you've seen, what's the one common thing that you would advise your clients to make the changes straight away?
I would say if something doesn't feel right or is impractical or dysfunctional, looks weird, makes you feel terrible, move it, get rid of it. Make sure that your home is practical and it functions properly. I mean, I've been to clients where they weren't allowed to use their kitchen in the way that they were supposed to, where they weren't allowed to use their stove according to the feng shui advice that they received, and they had to have a little portable thing on their island bench, or their fridge was pulled out of the cabinetry and stuck in the dining room, or they had to decorate their home with a painting that they hated. This is all in one home that I visited, and another one where they weren't allowed to use their laundry tub, and so the client was washing her undies in the bathroom sink.
Right.
So there are all these rules that made the client feel like she wasn't comfortable in her home, and she wasn't inviting visitors in because she thought that the place looked a bit weird, and people were asking questions, why have you done that? Why have you done this? And so feng shui should not be like that at all.
Yeah. Okay. So if it doesn't spark joy, get rid of it.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the Marie Kondo principle, right?
Yeah, and don't decorate with objects that you don't like, or things that you're putting in your home out of obligation because somebody gave you a gift and you hate it. Just find another way.
Because ultimately you wanna come home to a home.
Yeah.
You want it to be as comfortable as possible, and I believe that's what feng shui is as well. Is all about good energy that's right. You contain in a home.
Yeah, you want to come home to a sanctuary, something that energizes you, helps you to feel calm, reduce your stress, and helps you to be the best version of yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Now, is there a different challenge when it comes to, designing a place according to feng shui for, let's say, 2 or 3 story homes versus a tiny apartment?
Is there a difference between, did you say?
Yeah, challenges, different challenges.
Oh, different challenges. Oh, for sure, because you're working with multiple spaces there, and there are different functions for each room. So sometimes when people have larger houses, they're spoiled with choice. So they can, they've got the choice to have either a study nook or a full room where they can work.
Yeah. And
I guess there's more flexibility if you've got more spaces, but then if you've got more people living in the home, then that limits the flexibility also. Yeah. But yeah, it's the principles between larger homes and smaller homes still apply. The same principles still apply, but there's just, I guess, more complexity.
Yeah. Let's say if someone's building a home from the ground up, should they consult with you from the very beginning of the drawings?
That's the best time, because that is when we're still dealing with lines on a page that are very easily changed.
Yeah.
So always it's best to deal with the feng shui.
So what about apartments then? You can't really change the layouts anymore, and some, how apartments are in Sydney, they're getting smaller and smaller.
Yes.
Placements for, say, bed, for example, or cabinets are very, very challenging.
Yeah, that's right. And often I find that with my clients who've got units that they're very constricted as to how they can arrange their spaces. And that's where we bring in the 5 elements. So the 5 elements are used in Chinese metaphysics are fire, earth, metal, water, and wood.
Mm-hmm.
And each of those elements relates to a particular color, shape, and material. So it's about balancing I mentioned the energy map before. It's about balancing the elements in the energy map to get that intangible energy sort of flowing better. But also, if you look at the physical aspects, there are things that you can do in terms of having lovely furniture that you connect with, the right colors, making sure that the place is not cluttered.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot that can be done from that perspective that I see with clients, where they can do a lot of organization and clutter clearing to help that energy flow better, especially when you're in a smaller space. It's really important to get that.
Is Feng Shui just all about design of a place, or is it about the person as well?
Oh, it's also about the person.
Tell me more.
So it's about how the energy impacts you on a mental, physical, and spiritual level.
Yeah.
So I look at the design of spaces and the physical arrangements of spaces as affecting your energy. But if you also think about the other things in your life, like the media you surround yourself with, the food you eat, the exercise you do, that all impacts your energy as well. And while that might not be, traditional Feng Shui, it's something that I consider in my practice because to me, Feng Shui is a way of life. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so I like to encourage my clients to live the Feng Shui lifestyle because that's really how you get the most out of it. When you make those physical changes to your environment, it's not just about moving the plot plant here or there, it's the intention behind it. And when you combine your practical changes in your lifestyle, in your mindset, with those physical changes in your environment, that is when the magic really happens.
So you need to rearrange the design of your mind.
Yes.
I like that. How did you get into Feng Shui?
Well, that's an interesting story because I used to be an accountant many years ago.
Wow.
And when I had my first child, who's now 18, I visited a psychic. And the psychic said to me, right, Jane, the corporate career is over. You need to go and study interior design.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that was a very welcome insight because I was really interested in interior design. I'd renovated my own home and I loved the process. I had so much fun with it. And so I made it all happen and I went and found a design school and started my study and I loved it. And partway through the course, there was a break in the course, and because the cohort that was coming through with me didn't all want to finish at the same time. So I was frustrated because I wanted to get it done and get my qualifications and start practicing. So I went back to the psychic, and this time she said to me, now you need to study Feng Shui. Don't worry about this break in the course. This is the best time for you to study Feng Shui and combine the two. And I thought, having that commercial mind, being an accountant before, I thought, you know what, there are so many interior designers out there. I think it'd be great to have a niche.
Yeah, it's a great niche.
Yeah. And so I thought, okay, it'll be interior design with a bit of Feng Shui on the side. But once I opened those books, those Feng Shui books, and I started studying, I knew that was where I needed to be. So then my business became Feng Shui done in a beautiful and practical way.
Yeah.
And that's how I incorporated the design aspect into my work.
Tell me more about this psychic lady.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. How did you come across her and what happened?
Yeah, so the psychic was introduced to me by a friend of mine, an old school friend of mine, who her mother had passed away when she was really young, and the psychic gave her all of these insights about her mum, which were very specific. And my father passed away when I was 18, and so I was really interested to see if this psychic would pick up anything about my dad.
Okay.
And she did. It was so specific about my dad and how he was in the war and just, had he was shot in his leg, and she just picked up all of this stuff, and it was just incredible. And so it really, at the time, it really proved to me that she was the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved the feedback that she gave me and the advice that she gave me. And so I went with it and it worked.
Okay. Have you always been a spiritual person, would you say?
Well, I had, in terms of the spiritual side, I guess I grew up being a religious person, I suppose. I grew up in a Catholic sort of household.
Yeah.
So if you call that spiritual, yes. In terms of that whole woo-woo aspect of seeing psychics and that sort of thing, I was introduced to that later, as I was probably in my 20s or so by friends, and I was really intrigued by it, open-minded.
Mm-hmm.
And the first time I saw one, she was really great too. She actually picked my husband. She said that I was going to meet him in 3 months and this is what he's going to look like and all this. And it was like, whoa, that was awesome. And it happened.
Was that, okay, this is a very polarizing subject.
Yeah.
Psychic. So in terms of meeting your husband, was that a suggestion to you that you started looking for this person?
No, because I met him at a job interview.
Interesting.
So it wasn't expected.
It wasn't expected?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you one question that I ask all the guests that come here.
Yeah.
What is the fucking moment in your life that propelled you personally and professionally?
Well, I'd have to say it was the meeting with the psychic.
Right. It has that much impact in your life.
Well, I was working in the corporate world for 15 years as a financial, accountant, then financial controller of a multinational. So my corporate career was defined me.
Yeah.
And when I met her, I was on that maternity break. I just pretty much started that maternity break and I met her. That was a huge pivot for me. And I had people around me saying, what are you doing? Like, especially when it came to the Feng Shui side of things. Interior design is a lot more mainstream and people can kind of get that. But with the Feng Shui, it's like, what is this? What are you doing? Why don't you go back and be an accountant? Do tax returns. I never did tax returns anyway, but wasn't that sort of accountant. But it's like the lack of understanding of what I was doing. And I just, I really just went for it. So set up a website, saw the opportunity and loved what I was doing. And I just kind of ignored what others said. I was very, very lucky. Luckily for me, I had a very supportive husband who was okay with what I was doing and just went for it.
How long ago was this?
This was 16 years ago. So,
16 years ago.
Well, that was when I started Feng Shui, but so 2008 was when I set up my business. But prior to that, I started studying earlier than that when I was in the design phase.
That's amazing. And do you feel happier?
Oh, absolutely. I do. Yeah, I love what I do. So I sometimes I don't want to go to sleep because I'm just doing my work, writing reports, just want to stay up and get it done. And so I kind of have to force myself.
You're one of the lucky ones.
To go to bed. I am really lucky. I see myself as being really fortunate that I can do what I love for my work, yeah.
Has it always been easy or has it been challenging in the early days to start this business?
For me, it hasn't been too challenging because I've been following my passion and I've just kind of ignored what people are saying. I guess the challenge is as I've progressed through my career, it's about that imposter syndrome, I suppose.
Yeah.
I wrote a book a couple of years ago that just came out almost a year ago now. And that was a really hard thing for me to do, to actually get my ideas and my IP out there and put my take on Feng Shui out to the world.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, I'm going to be judged. I'm going to be judged by my peers, by other people around me. And I just felt that was a really hard thing just to put it out there.
Are you active on social media?
I'm very active on social media, and that's also a challenge too.
Yes.
Because you really have to just try and ignore the noise and ignore what others are saying and doing and really just be bold and put yourself out there. So that's not always easy.
Yeah. What I find with social media is you get to experience a lot of naysayers.
Yes.
And the best thing you could do as a business owner is actually not confronting them, but easing in with them. And because I find that a lot of negative reviews or a lot of naysayers that are, the keyboard warriors that are commenting on your posts, that's actually a very, very good tool for business owners to actually interact with them. because it's a genuine interaction, and a lot of your target audience would see how you interact with those people as well,
Yeah.
and they'll buy into your business that way.
Yeah. I'm kind of lucky in a way that I don't get too much of that pushback in my social media, because I think that people that are into Feng Shui tend to be more about positive energy.
Correct.
So I don't tend to get too much of that, although I have got a little bit in the past, like, you know, too much promotion, too much self-promotion, like, what are you doing, sort of thing.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah. Which makes you feel bad, obviously.
Yeah. What do you mean by too much self-promotion?
Well,
What did you
somebody
do?
actually made that comment on one of my posts in the early days.
Okay.
Yeah, he said, and it's like, okay.
Pushing too hard?
See, well, you know what? The thing is that when people start criticizing you, that's when you know that you're doing enough. I think when you're not putting yourself out there and you're not doing enough, you're never going to get any criticism.
Yeah.
But you need to actually just be okay with it. That I know that once I start getting criticism, once people, you know, the eyebrows are raised, well, then I know I'm doing what I should be doing and I'm where I need to be.
Yeah. So is there a moment in your life that you feel this is my rock bottom? Whether it's in your career or in your personal life?
Probably when I was at uni studying accounting, and I was working as well. So I did a cadetship when I left school. I was working in an accounting firm and studying, and I absolutely hated it.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a rock bottom moment for me, was failing exams. I remember the first time I rocked up into an exam. I think I got in a mid-session at uni, I got something like 30% in the mid-session. It was so bad. And my first result was a pass conceded. And I just felt awful.
What did you get through with it?
You know what? I don't like quitting, and I knew it was a really good opportunity, and so I just kept going. And I was going to quit, and my mum said to me, just give it another semester. And I thought, okay, I'll just keep going. And I pushed through, and I ended up getting my degree, and I became CPA qualified later. I actually found my feet. So I found that it was such a huge transition going from school to being in the workforce and studying at the same time. It was really hard for me. It was like I felt like I was thrown to the lions because I had lived such a sheltered life when I was a kid in that sort of immigrant household.
Yeah.
All of a sudden I was out there with men and corporate people, and there was traveling on public transport was new for me. I used to be driven around everywhere by my mum and dad to school.
Yeah.
So it was just very scary being out in the real world like that.
Yeah.
I found, and doing something that I didn't understand and didn't like. I went from being at school and getting the highest marks in 6 of my subjects to going to uni, not really understanding it, and almost failing. So
I wanted to pick on that point about you not wanting to quit. So is there a difference between not wanting to quit and also realizing that this is not something that I wanted to do, and I just wanted to prove to myself or to my parents that in anything that I do, I could succeed?
I was pretty young and didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I thought, there's really good career progression in accounting, and I'll just stick to it. What else am I going to do? It was more like that. But I really don't like to quit things. So even there was a time when I studied a project management course recently, actually. Well, it was maybe, I don't know, 5 years ago or so. And because I just kind of been renovating my home, and I loved the idea of helping people with their renovations. And I thought, well, why don't I study project management? Maybe I can help people with that. And I did. And you know what? I really didn't like it. It took me back to those accounting days.
Yeah.
And I wanted I spoke to a friend who said to me, "Why are you even doing this? Is this taking you on your path of what you're meant to be doing, which was the Feng Shui work?" And I said, "No, actually, it's a bit of a deviation." She said, "Why don't you quit?" And when I was faced with that decision, I was actually really upset about it. To the point where I was crying about it because I didn't want to quit. I wanted to finish this thing because I thought it'd be good to have that extra qualification.
Is it because you wanted to prove to yourself, or?
Yeah, I wanted to prove to myself that I could finish it, and I do it, and I'm not a quitter as well.
Right.
Because I've never really quit too many things in my life.
Yeah. Now, on the point that about you renovating a place, and this is what I'm always curious about.
Yeah.
How often does a designer how often would a designer renovate or redecorate their places?
For me, I tend to like to just get it done once and leave it and not change things around too often.
But
within my own home.
Yeah.
But just it could be things like refreshing cushions and stuff like that. But because I've got that accounting background, it's like I want to invest in good quality pieces that are going to last and that I don't need to chuck out.
Yeah. Because life change.
Yeah.
So should you redecorate your home every now and again? Like, what's the?
Well, when you're going through different life stages, of course. I mean, I look at my daughter's room. She went from having a toddler bed to having a bigger one, and we changed the decor in there as she gets older because she's going through different life stages. Things change in my home office, for example, where I've changed, the decor. I've got a vision board up in my room now where I sort of stick on all of the things that I want to be achieving. So that those sorts of things change. But in terms of the big base pieces of furniture, I like to get things right the first time.
Let me ask the same question a different way then.
Yeah.
If your goals change, if you want to have let's say, for example, if you say to yourself, my goal is to earn $6 million this year.
Yes.
Should there be changes that you need to make at home? Or after that, I wanted to maybe open up another business or have a different goal. Are there changes that you need to make at home?
Within my home office, yes, absolutely. Because and this is where I bring that vision board into the picture, where I want to make sure that what I've got in my surroundings is going to propel me to where I need to go to achieve that goal. Yeah. So I definitely would be making changes in that workspace.
Very interesting. If you could leave the audience with one advice to make changes in their home that makes the energy flow better,
yes,
what would it be?
It would be to pay attention to the energy in your front entrance, because your front entrance is your gateway to wealth. So make sure that's free of obstacles. You've got some focal point to draw the energy inside, clear the clutter, and welcome that positive wealth energy. Don't have a mirror directly opposite the door, because that reflects energy and opportunities back out again.
Right. Okay. I've never seen that before, but that's very interesting.
You've never seen a mirror opposite the door?
No.
Yeah, people do it all the time.
Really?
Yeah. So if you've got a foyer and then you open the front door and there's a mirror there above a console table, I see that a lot with clients.
I see glass panels, but not mirrors.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, very interesting. Anyway, Jane, thank you very much for your time. It was very, very insightful. And I would love to have you on again.
You're welcome,
All right.
David.
Thank
you.
Thank you very much.